Serenity is the sense that everything is just right. Nothing is missing, nothing is wrong. There's nothing you could add or remove that would make this moment more perfect than it already is. You've probably had moments like this throughout your life, when enjoying a loved one's company, for instance, when you've taken time to bask in nature's splendor, when all your work has been completed and you feel as though nothing more needs to be done. It's in moments like these that serenity can most easily make itself known, but serenity does not depend on any such circumstances for its existence. When you take the perspective of holy perfection, you can have that serenity regardless of what's happening in your life. Another way of describing serenity is a deep sense of beauty in everything that occurs. This is the opposite of anger, fostered by resentment, which is always looking for and focusing on what's quote-unquote wrong with a given scenario, focusing on what supposedly disrupts life's beauty. It's probably not hard for you to think of all sorts of things you would consider ugly or wrong. With all those things in mind, how could one say everything that occurs is beautiful? How could one suggest that I or life in general are perfect when we're so flawed? Holy perfection, as opposed to the ego, doesn't operate from the perspective that sees these quote-unquote flaws. It operates from a higher perspective, a more basic, more inclusive perspective, where all these flaws are themselves part of a larger, flawless picture. One way of perceiving holy perfection is to look at life as you would a good story. All manner of ugly, even morally egregious things may take place in the plot, but that doesn't prevent the story from being good or even beautiful. Those elements you may consider flaws in another context participate in the perfection of the story as a whole. Holy perfection is not a moral perfection. It doesn't mean everything that happens is morally just or supposed to happen in a moral sense. But just as the good and the bad make up the flawless plot of a good story, so is the case in life. As stated in the previous video, our problems related to perfection begin when we elevate our preferences above reality. We create our own idea of perfection that excludes rather than includes those things we consider bad or wrong. We then begin our angry crusade against reality, full of resentment when things don't align with our ideals. This is the reason you feel as though things are off, as though you are wrong in some deep sense. In reality, however, nothing's wrong with you. Am I not wrong then to feel as though something's wrong with me? No, that feeling is perfectly right, actually. Given the fact that you've rejected pieces of reality's perfect, harmonious picture, it makes sense that you would feel as though things are off. Attaining serenity requires you to hold this kind of analysis above the one that's constantly comparing things to your preferences and deeming them bad when they don't conform to those preferences. When you can see, again, how it makes perfect sense for you to feel as though you're wrong when you've rejected some elements of yourself. When you can see how seamlessly anger flows from a resentful mindset. When you can see how fitting it is that you feel a constant sense of pressure when you've decided there's so much that needs to be done. This is holy perfection. Nothing that occurs is wrong or out of place on this level. Everything that exists fits perfectly into reality's tapestry, the good, the bad, and the ugly. This is what the transcendental beauty refers to. There's beauty not only in a loving embrace between two people, or in events all going according to plan. There's beauty in how perfectly suited the need to grieve is to the loss of a family member. How perfectly connected failure is to a lack of preparation. How perfectly appropriate it is for you to feel outraged at someone's immoral actions. When everything is perfect in this sense, what needs to be fixed? What could possibly go wrong with any events or with you? Any desire to change, any dislike or discomfort you have regarding some aspect of yourself. These are just more pieces of the perfect picture you find yourself in. Accepting this perspective takes time, as there's a lot of conditioning encouraging us to think otherwise. That deep sense of being wrong must be confronted, and a glimpse of holy perfection must be attained. This is the only way we can overcome our anger at the world and ourselves. With holy perfection, we're no longer striving to become perfect, to fix ourselves and earn a sense of rightness. We see clearly that everything is already in its right place, that every moment is a perfect whole, lacking nothing. Instead of that frustrated striving, we have the opportunity to participate in the perfection that's already ours, to give ourselves freely and fully to reality's harmonious unfolding. You can rest in the serene awareness that nothing needs to be fixed, that you are not defective, that nothing is wrong.